Hello, everybody. It's Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And typically, this is when I say it's Saturday and give out the date, and I say it's time for a new cryptid encounter from a subscriber or an email. Well, this is actually Friday. I've got something going on Saturday, so this is getting released a day early. But there's also something behind this today that I want to discuss really briefly. Now, don't change the channel. Give me 2 or 3 minutes of your time because I got something I'd like to say before I get on with this story. It really is important to me. So if you are a subscriber and if this is your first time here, please hear me out. If you might have noticed, the thumbnail on YouTube has a copy of my book cover, a photo of my book cover, and a cool Dogman. And there's a reason behind that. I was recently approached to do an audio book on my book. And I don't think I'm that good of an orator to read my book and to sell it. So part of this is, number one, leave a comment if you think that it would be any good me reading my book. Because I got to tell you, I'm not paying somebody to read my book. It's my book. It's mine. It's either going to be read by me or nobody else. I'll just keep it in paperback and, of course, the ebook. And you can find my book on Amazon, of course. But here's another thing. For the rest of April and maybe going into May, for those of you that have not purchased my book, Bigfoot Michigan Rock Presents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1, I am going to read a story from the book. For those of you that maybe are on the fence, don't know if you want to get it, I get that. So for another 4 or 5 weeks, every weekend, I'm going to put out a story from my book. These stories, there's 50 stories in the book. They're anywhere from 2 pages long to 8 pages long. It just depends. Okay. Secondly, I also want to put out to everybody that I'm about 4 subscribers away from 3,800 on YouTube. If you're new here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And if you are already a loyal subscriber and fan, or whatever terminology you want to classify yourself as, share it out and let's help me get there. I want to be at 4,000 subscribers by the Alabama Bigfoot Conference, June 7th and 8th. So I got the rest of April, May to pick up about 205 subscribers. So yeah, this is, me doing a little promotion before I get going. I'm trying to generate more sales of the book. If you're new, please subscribe. For those of you that have bought the book, thank you, and you probably heard these stories. But again, my preface behind doing some of my stories over the next couple of weeks is to make that determination if I want to go on and do an audio book with my voice or someone else's, and I really don't want to use somebody else. I might not even do an audio book. I've spent enough of your time already, and this is going to be a shorter one because I knew I was going to spend about 3 or 4 minutes taking up your time. I hope that you did not turn this off. And also Saturday night, Krista and Brandy and I are doing a live show, and we're going to break this down. It's a Dogman encounter. Elkhorn, Wisconsin. That's, of course, in the book. And so we're going to do a live show Saturday, which is tomorrow, at midnight, 11 Central. So if you're still here, enjoy. Elkhorn, Wisconsin. It was midnight when I was walking down the infamous Bray Road. I was taking a shortcut down the road and through the woods, and no, not to grandmother's house, but my girlfriend Ann's. The year was the fall of 1993 when these events took place. Of course, I had heard of the folklore or legend of a man like Wolf that had terrorized the part of Wisconsin off of the infamous Bray Road. And to me, it was just that, folklore or a legend passed down from 1986 or so when the legend first arose and later made popular by the reporter at the time, Linda Godfrey, who has written a book on the subject. I had taken this pathway to Ann's many times, especially when I was in a hurry, and frankly, it was just more convenient. After walking down Bray Road, I cut through to a trail that would take me directly through the woods for about a mile that ended at the end of the block at Ann's house. I found it strange, after several yards walking on the trail, that I did not hear the usual chirping of crickets or any of the typical sounds that I was familiar with at nighttime. I started feeling a bit wary of this, and for some reason, I found myself stopping and turning back to look over my right shoulder towards the wood line. I felt like I was being watched or followed. I don't know. I continued down my path as only a few hundred yards would lead me to my destination. Then I heard a crackling in the brush, as though an animal of some sort that had been scampering in behind me, and it was getting closer. The crackling of brush got louder. I stopped, whirled around, and saw nothing, and the crackling of the brush subsided. Now I picked up my pace into a light jog and was determined to get to Ann's house as soon as possible. So you guys, this guy's walking through the forest, okay? When it started again, the crackling of brush picked up, and this time I turned around and saw what appeared to be a large dog or wolf on all fours on the outer edge of the tree line, just off the road. It was following me. My heart started to beat fast, and sweat started to pour from the top of my head. For whatever the reason, I noticed that the crackling of brush started to sound a bit different, as though perhaps a person and not an animal was in back of me. It was bipedal, and to my relief, I figured it was another person on the trail. I turned around, and to my instincts, the walking was bipedal. But this was no human. The wolf-like creature was now upright on two legs, advancing upon me. I was in shock. I dared not to run, but this thing was gaining fast upon me. Then, in the distance, what appeared to be a motor, or perhaps a scooter, something of that nature, was heard in the distance. Still too scared to turn around, I noticed an illumination coming from behind me, and in fact, it was a man on a scooter who started to honk his horn and was waving one hand in the air as if gesturing me to stop. At this point, the bipedal creature was not in view. When the man on the scooter, much older than I, approached me, he stopped and he said, "You know, it is not all that safe walking along these trails late at night," and asked if he could accompany me to my destination. Before I could answer, I asked, "Did you see anything or anyone following behind me?" The older man said with an odd grin, "Do you mean the beast of Bray Road?" My body grew chills, and my sweat appeared to freeze on my forehead. And in an instant, the old man sped off. I have not told a soul this story. I was relieved to get to Ann's home. When she looked at me, she asked, "What's wrong?" She could tell by my face, my expressions. I simply replied, "Some old guy on a motorbike kind of freaked me out." That's one of the shortest stories in the book, probably the shortest story in the book. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do making an audiobook. As you can see, I stumbled a couple times, so it'll be a lot of editing for me to do and stuff, and to get it 100% right. This is like the third take I've done on this video to try to get it as perfect, but I don't know. But anyway, it was a great story. What do you guys think about the story? Leave a comment. The Beast of Bray Road. I think it's prevalent today. I think it exists today. This story was creepy. Was this guy a shapeshifter? I mean, it's kind of odd to be followed by some wolf-like creature, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, a man appears, an old creepy man, but he was on a motorbike. And certainly, motorbikes don't shapeshift, at least not to my knowledge. I hope you enjoyed that. Leave a comment. Next week, I'll do another one for you guys, and I won't, I'll cut out the first 3 minutes of me BSing with you guys. Please subscribe to my channel. Let's get to 4,000 by June 1st, eh? Buy the book if not already. Thank you for that. Those that have bought it, please leave a review on Amazon because, again, it's all analytics these days. Leave the review and it helps promote sales. Book 2, by the way, is coming out in June, so you might want to get your hands on this one. Subscribe to Bigfoot, Michigan Rob on YouTube. 4,000, June 1st. With that being said, have a fantastic weekend. I am Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Love each and every single one of you. Thank you. Have a great weekend.